very disappointing. And then we moved on to other things. And now I decided, no, sod it. I'm going to do it. This is a project I actually going to make happen. I'm not going to let it sit there. So I've just been illustrating the book in the last couple of weeks, and I will have that finished in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I want to get it out.
Fantastic. Well, you're in the right place.
Good.
I'm just waiting for a few others to join before I start the presentation.
No hurry.
Nicholas, where are you calling in from today?
I'm at Da Nang, so it's 11 p.m. over here. It's midnight shift.
Were you the one who just texted me whether it's going to be recorded or not?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, thank you. You reminded me to start recording, so we are recording for sure.
Tough it out. Hey, Yossi.
Hey, what's up, Aaron? What's up, guys? Yo, let me call back in 2, yeah?
Hi, we got another one joining us at 11 p.m. I see from Vietnam.
Caught him at the same gym the other week.
All right, so yeah, I guess you guys got some information about this webinar through Eventbrite or some other channel. Basically, I wanted to do kind of a short screen sharing session and kind of just give you guys a little bit of backstory, walk you through the process. If you have any questions, feel free to just type them into the chat. And then at the end, I'll be happy to answer any specific questions you guys have about your books. If you need any kind of insights. Basically, what we're going to cover is, so I'm getting a little bit of background noise. I don't know who that is. Is that Yossi or Robert?
I can mute. And I'm going to take my...
Okay. So basically what I want to do is kind of give you guys a little overview of the process, how I published a dozen best-selling books, how I basically wrote them, packaged them. As Robert was saying, it's not so easy as just writing a book and then expecting that publishers or agents are going to start knocking at your doorstep. So now that we've made some brief introductions, and if anyone else joins late, I'll just add them here. I'm going to start screen sharing. So let's see if I get this. Okay, you guys can see my screen now? Do you guys see my whole window, or is it?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so we know that the topic is about how to self-publish and earn 6 figures from books. As we were saying before this call, let me see if I can. So as we were saying before this call, traditional publishing and self-publishing is not super easy. When it comes to traditional publishing, authors do about 90% of the work, but the agencies, the agents, the editors, designers take 90% of the profit. As my friend Robert mentioned, most publishers won't even speak to you unless you have an agent, and that can already set you back. So I just did a couple of crowdfunding campaigns for my book Unlimit and raised about $20,000 just through crowdfunding. But when I tried to go to certain publishers, it was kind of I was giving the runaround. I had one agent that was interested in working with me. She asked for $25,000 up front. So it didn't quite work out. I prefer to keep most of the profit and be able to learn how to sell my own books and be able to publish on my own terms. Like if I want to work with a publisher and not feel like that's the only option. Unfortunately, when it comes to self-publishing, authors will tend to pour their heart and soul into manuscripts. Sometimes it'll take years, and they'll upload it to Amazon and they get as crickets. I think someone else is trying to join. Give me a second, guys. Okay, okay, there we go. Sorry for that. All right, so back to the topic. Is it worth it to write books? I absolutely believe so. As you can see, I've published a dozen books and they've all been #1 bestsellers. My recent book I published a month ago, it was #1 in entrepreneurship management, #1 in personal success and business. Several years ago, I had 2 books ranking #1 and #2 at the same time in direct marketing. So this is my book, Dr. Growth, and my book, Hack Email. Someone else is trying to join. Sorry, guys, let me see. Okay, admit. And then I've also published books in other topics. So this is in small business entrepreneurship, #1 for my book, Buy Your Own Island, and also my book, Hack Sleep, #1 for healthy living. So in this webinar, I want to teach you guys my whole process for getting #1 bestseller, how to make your books marketable, and how to make more money with them. I've also turned my books into businesses. So I have this website, schoolofgrowthhacking.com, and this was all built around my book, Dr. Growth. So I created a variety of video courses. I published these on appsumo.com. Anyone heard of AppSumo before? It's basically, okay, a couple of people. Yeah, so basically you sell deals to a newsletter of 1 million entrepreneurs. So just from this one book, I was able to do a lot of public speaking all over the world. I did tours of all over Asia, Europe, was able to get a lot of clients as a result of my book, kind of using it as a business card, using it to start conversations with potential leads. And I think that if you really want to succeed at publishing, you need to treat it like a business. So the book is just one component of your publishing ecosystem. You know, a lot of people will ask you, can you make money with books? And I would say, absolutely, you can make money. But a lot of people just kind of use the book as kind of a business card. So it's kind of like an authority builder, you know, that gets you an invitation to speaking engagements and podcasts and public relations, these kinds of things. So especially if you're writing a nonfiction book. If you guys have any questions, if anything's not clear, feel free to just type in the chat. I'll check it. So usually at the beginning of my publishing process, I'll go to this website called Publishizer. Has anyone here heard of Publishizer before? Okay, nope. What authors typically have is you have a Google document or a Word document with a bunch of stuff that you want to write about. It's just kind of a mess at first, right? And that's totally fine. What Publishizer is, it's a crowdfunding website just for authors. And when you go to Publishizer, you guys can read that, right? When you go to Publishizer, it kind of gives you a crash course into how to make your book presentable, how to package it into an actual product. So it's basically, you can go onto Publishizer, and actually, since I'm screen sharing, I can just go to the website. But when you submit a book, it'll ask you different kind of questions, and it'll start to get you thinking about how do I actually want to make this marketable? You know, what's the problem that I'm solving with this book, or what's the value that it provides? You know, if you're writing a children's book, is it educational? If it's a novel, are people bored? You know, do they want a story that will excite them? If it's nonfiction, you know, what are they learning from the book? And so if you go to Publishizer, you can kind of just, it's really helpful to kind of go and look and see what kind of campaigns have been crowdfunded successfully. So like you can see this one, Rigging the Game. This one is looks like a fiction book. I know, 30 Inspiring Lessons on Faith, Learning, and Leadership. And then you can see that Publishizer, if you're successful, it'll actually connect you to a lot of these established publishers. And so you can have your pick of publishers once you finish your pre-launch campaign on one of these, on the platform like this. So this one, Rigging the Game, he raised $52,000 from this campaign. And you can see it basically, it gives you a chance to kind of convert your manuscript into, you know, here's your selling proposition, here's your description, here's your video, here's how you communicate what your book is all about. So for the author, it's very helpful to kind of just, you know, go over this kind of stuff and brainstorm. Here's a synopsis. Here's the sales arguments. Here's similar titles. This is the audience. So advanced praise. So going to Publishizer is kind of like doing your homework. And you can kind of just prepare all this stuff to kind of package it together. And then you can set a goal for your campaign that you feel comfortable with. Maybe you're not really sure that you can reach it, but it does seem like it's in reach. And one of the reasons why I like to do it this way is because over here on the rewards, you can create whatever kind of rewards and tiers that you want. So, you can sell rewards for 25 books, or you can sell rewards for $2,850, $4,250. So it's a good chance to sell, other things that you want to sell or offer, like consulting. You can offer signed copies of your book plus a workbook. You can sell orders in bulk. And what I found is that when I started publishing my first couple of books on Amazon, initially to get #1 bestseller, I do a lot of free promotions. I do 99-cent promotions. And if you're selling a book for 99 cents, you're only getting 35 cents per copy that you sold. So it's not really a lot, right? But if you go and you do pre-order campaign and people can pay $20 for the book, or you can offer, 5 books. So if you guys look at my Kickstarter campaign for my recent book, you can see some of my rewards on there as well. But it's really helpful to kind of just go on a website like Publishizer, and you can see this guy got 560 pre-orders, 15,000 funded, and his book's in all of these stores. And then it'll also show you which publisher they got connected to in the end. So I guess he got published by, these are all the publishers that applied to publish his book. So it makes sense so far? For my book Unlimit, I did both a Publishizer and a Kickstarter. So in total, it was about 20,000 raised in the pre-order. With the Kickstarter, it was about 12,000. And you can see over here on the reward levels, there's the $15 early bird digital edition. So people can pay more to get the book 6 months in advance. And then there's also the coolness factor of contributing to make the project happen. If they bid for 35, they can also get a bundle. So I'll bundle different books, maybe resources, things like this, $75. So you can kind of put together different kind of packages like events, meetups, maybe have like a book launch party. A lot of you guys, I think, have your own businesses, the other things that you can kind of offer. And then you can also use AI to kind of help you brainstorm and kind of get this all together. So does all make sense so far? And the reason I like to do this is because I find that with the pre-launch, I can really kind of test a lot of my ideas through these crowdfunding campaigns. And then the next one is Kickstarter. So like I said, I did a crowdfunding campaign on both Publishizer and Kickstarter. And there's many advantages to going on Kickstarter. Kickstarter only takes 10% of what you raise, and which is a lot less than other crowdfunding platforms. And it's a really chance to kind of mobilize your network and to get them supporting your project and your book. And you're basically selling the idea behind your book. So in advertising, we say that your advertising has to be built on a big idea. Why should people read your book? What are they going to learn from it? What are they going to gain from it? And that's how you can kind of motivate people to go and back your project. There's also a whole bunch of different Kickstarter services that you can use if you go on Fiverr.com, for example. There's a lot of different services that you can use, and they promote Kickstarter projects. So for example, I bought a list of 1 million Kickstarter backers when I launched my book, and was emailing them, go check out my project, things like this. And there's also a lot of really powerful marketing tools when it comes to Kickstarter. So has anyone ever used Kickstarter before for any project? Anyone here? No, not yet? Okay. Well, what I want to show you, if you go under here into the dashboard, what you're actually looking at here is the back end. And there's a lot of different kind of tools for the person. Let's see if I go dashboard. There's a lot of tools for the person launching the campaign from a marketing perspective. So for example, once this loads, you can see that you can create unique links for every kind of promotion that you're using. So if you're doing a promotion to a newsletter, for example, or through social media, you can create a lot of trackable links, and it'll tell you where all of your money's coming from, which is really, really valuable. So you know which promotions and things you're doing which are working and which you can just like stop doing. And then over the course of like a 60-day campaign, you can learn so much about what's actually working when it comes to promoting your book. So I would love to show you guys that if once it verifies that I'm human. All right, any questions? Maybe we can take a second. Chat here. Okay, none so far. Perfect. Yeah, so Kickstarter is really a dream for marketers. Yeah, does somebody want to say something? I think somebody unmuted their mic. Okay.
Yeah, hey Danny.
This long time no see.
Good to see you again. I was just wondering, who does your graphics? Because I love them.
Oh, thank you. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'm going to talk a bit more about the creative side of things.
Cool.
Yeah. So let me kind of get into that actually. So with all of the logos and the branding that you see, I use this tool that's called Namelix. So namelix.com. I use that to create the logo for my book. I use it to create logos for certain sections. So if you go to my page, I think you can just Google Kickstarter Unlimit. Looks like I crashed Kickstarter somehow. But basically with Namelix, you can type in some description about your book or your project, whatever it is, and then add some kind of keywords, and then it'll give you a lot of branding ideas and things like this. So that's how I generate like a logo for my book, for example, or a presentation, different projects, things like this. And then I'll often go to websites like FreePic and Lumi. So these are just like stock image websites where I'll just kind of go and look for ideas, like visual ideas. So if I want to design a cover, I went and I was looking for inspiration for my book, Hack Sleep, for example. And what I'll kind of do is just kind of study what's out there. And when I studied like a sleep hacking, sleep assistance book, all of the covers were really generic. Like it was just like a baby asleep on a pillow or something like that. So, I'll just kind of go and look and try to find like unique ideas. And then I'll do the graphics myself actually. So, what I'll typically do is I'll find inspiration and use that to kind of create my covers and so forth. So with my book Unlimit, I use this website Lumi, and it's a stock image website for AI images. So, like if I want to find a model for my book Unlimit, I might type in like determination or something like that. And then it'll show me a lot of, AI models that are like really determined or something. So I think for the cover of my book, I just found somebody like that and then, created the cover in Photoshop. So I'll show you that for this one. So I made this in Photoshop. I made the logo with Namelix, this where it says Unlimit, and then found this model in the foreground. And then I kind of looked for a lot of other covers for inspiration. And it was kind of hard to figure out what the visual direction that I wanted it to be exactly. I was like thinking like philosophy, psychology, but I wanted it to be kind of unique and kind of like new agey, but not too out there, I guess, if that makes sense. So it did take me a little bit of time to create this cover. I have a lot of different iterations. Some of the earlier drafts were not that great. So going back to content, if you want to start creating your manuscript or a new manuscript, I basically wrote my book Unlimited in about 6 weeks, the whole manuscript. If you want to start from scratch, chances are that you already have a lot of content already that you can kind of organize and outline into a book. So I've been using a few different tools to organize my content. If you have a lot of Instagram posts, for example, you have a website, I like to use this tool. It's called the IG Post Exporter. And you can just type in the name of your username and it basically compile all your social media content from Instagram. And then you can import that into like Notebook LM or Gemini. And you can import like, transcripts from podcasts or videos, things like this. So chances are that you already have a lot of content that you've created and you just need to kind of organize it. So what you can do is you can go to like Notebook LM and then organize all your content into like an outline. And I will always kind of start with an outline because, like I don't have all the chapters and things in my head, I just have ideas and then I just need to kind of organize those. Has anyone here actually published a book before? No, not yet. Okay. Yeah, so you know, that's just one way. I always start with the outline, and the outline is kind of the structure. And then from the outline, I'll just make little notes like this is the things that I want to write about. So you know, I'm writing something right now, this book called Brand Blitz, and it's just totally unorganized. You know, it's just a lot of my notes and you know, where I want to source new content from other content that I've done. You know, I have the intro, I have the preface, and then I'll just kind of organize it this way, and eventually it'll take form into different chapters and so forth. So, you know, here's a chapter header. So it's by no means finished. I see somebody unmuted their mic. You had a question, Nick?
No, that's my bad. I didn't mean to unmute. I just wanted to say, yeah, I published the book myself a while back, but not full publishing. Just did a hardcover copy and sold it hand to hand.
And you said you're using Gumroad, is that correct?
I did it on GoFundMe.
Oh, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they take 3% and they give you the cash immediately. So I thought that was a pretty sweet alternative to 10% and having to wait.
Were you successful in marketing on GoFundMe? Because I think it's kind of mostly for like charity projects and so forth, right?
I mean, I leaned almost entirely on my personal networks, but I managed to raise like 4,000 euro, which was more than enough for printing. And yeah, had a friend do the design, had another friend do the typesetting, mum's an editor. So did like a little sort of community in-house project, and then moved 125 copies. So take that.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, I learned something new on this webinar. We can use GoFundMe as well for books.
Yeah, man. 3%, bro. Pretty good.
So what's been your sticking point so far as an author? You know, what are you hoping to improve upon? Nicholas. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I just haven't had a burning idea for a book. That one came like someone asked me a question, and I'm generally pretty good at whipping an answer out of thin air for any question anyone gives me. And someone asked me a question, I was like, fuck, I don't know. And then I just spent a long time figuring out the answer, and then I was like, all right, that's a book. So yeah, I'm scratching around trying to find the question. That's what's going on at the minute. I'm just writing sort of long form, but not book length long form at the minute.
Well, you brought up an interesting point. You know, like a lot of, especially nonfiction books, they kind of exist to solve people's problems. So if you have a question about some topic, people also have those questions. You can go to like Quora or Reddit, see what kind of conversations are taking place. You know, I often do a lot of research when it comes to selling a book like this one. I'll go to Reddits like motivation or willpower, and I'll go to those subreddits to kind of promote my book when I launch it as well. And you can kind of just go on those subreddits and just kind of see what the top topics are. You know, if you have a book about sleep hacking, for example, there's a subreddit called Get Out of Bed, and you can just go on a subreddit like that to just kind of see what problems people have, and that can kind of help structure the content of your book, for example. Is anyone using Reddit for writing or for publishing or anything? Okay. It's a really great resource. There's also like a lot of resources, Reddit's like on self-publishing and so forth. So you can kind of go and find some useful stuff on there. But if I was writing a book about sleep hacking, for example, or this book on limit, you know, I could type in motivation, you know, and see what people are struggling with or what they're talking about. Or if I was writing a book about sleep hacking, I can go to this subreddit, Get Out of Bed. And actually, I did promote my recent book in a lot of these subreddits too, to just kind of send a lot of traffic from specific subreddits as well. So just from this one subreddit, Get Out of Bed, I was able to send a lot of 99-cent downloads during my Amazon launch, just from sharing my book here. So a lot of the things that people are talking about, they're struggling with, you bad insomnia or, anxiety and things like this. So my sleep hacking book was a perfect fit for this audience. All right, I'm going to go back to the slides. Hope this is all helpful information. So the best way I found to write a book, I basically wrote my book on limit. It's more than 400 pages in about 6 weeks. And the fastest way I found is just to dictate everything. What I usually tell writers is that you can do writing and you can do editing, but you can't do both at the same time. So the thing that holds people back when they write is that they're always critiquing themselves. Is that the right word that I should have used? Does that make sense what I just said? You need to kind of turn off that inner critic. And, you'll have an outline, you have your chapter, you know what you want to say, and then you just focus on, getting all of your ideas onto paper. Because you'll have these ideas that'll come, and then if you don't get them out there, then they're just going to disappear. So I just like to just get my phone out. I can just say everything I need to say on that topic, and then I'm done. My writing's done. And I don't worry about whether it looks good. I do all the organization. I do all the editing when my manuscript is finished. So that's really the hack. I will go and, I'll go outside for an hour or something for a walk, and then I'll just do all my writing on my phone usually. So I talked a little bit about from the branding perspective, just different ways that I find inspiration, so forth. So when it came to advertising my books, I often found that video on Facebook ads converted really well. So I'm creating videos. I actually created a video trailer for my book Unlimit using Suno. So anyone have experience using Suno before? You can basically create any kind of song about anything you want. You can create your own lyrics. So when I created my book website, it's unlimitbook.com. Basically, I created a book trailer that I could put on my Kickstarter page and also my book landing page. So this is just some of the quotes that the beta readers had posted. Here's the link to the trailer. So basically, I used Suno to create the theme song. And then Storyblocks, which is just like a stock video website. And then I'll put them together using like Clipchamp or iMovie, something like that. So if you guys want to see that after the presentation, you can go to unlimitbook.com just to see what that looks like. And then this is just the synopsis and the page that I created for the book. So I created a lot of different logos for the different sections and so forth. And then I just use a landing page builder to create this book website. So the reason I like to do that is because, especially when you're doing a crowdfunding campaign or you're doing a launch, you want to get people's attention. You want to get them to go check out the page and get them to sign up right away. And so you want to kind of create some excitement around your book, especially during a launch, to kind of get people to click and to go make that impulse buy. So this is just kind of a procedure of how my launch schedule when I launch on Amazon. Can you guys read that okay? Yes, so typically what I'll do is if you go to Amazon, kdp.amazon.com, you can basically publish anytime that you want. You just got to make sure that you're prepared. So basically you launch the book. Amazon might take up to 12 hours to approve it. And then in the first week, what I try to do is I'll do a 5-day free promotion and just try to get everybody I know that, backed the book in the pre-launch campaign, everybody that wanted to be a beta reader, just contact all of them and say, go download the free book, write a review. Sometimes I'll even do boosted posts on Facebook because if you target developing countries like Philippines, India, you can get a lot of free downloads for 2 cents per click or something like this. So I might just do some little ads that way where I'll boost my posts and send them to my Amazon page just to get a lot of free downloads, to rise up the charts, get some exposure for the book, and then get as many reviews as possible. And then once you go to days 7 to 9, you raise the book price to 99 cents. And then there's a bunch of these 99-cent promotion websites. And I'll send you guys a list with all of the 99-cent promotion websites. But basically, they have newsletters that promote 99-cent books. So they might have 50,000 people on their newsletter. And then they will promote you as soon as your book goes to 99 cents after the first week. And then so for the second week, I'll remain at 99 cents, try to send as much traffic, and then get up the paid bestseller. And then what that does is it gets you into the hot new releases on Amazon, and then you can increase the price slowly and start reaping the profits. And you have to remember that when it comes to the first 30 days, that launch period is really critical if you want to get that #1 bestseller badge, that #1 hot new releases badge. And that's the chance when you can do a lot of promotion and make money. Any questions so far? All make sense? I'll make sure that you guys, I think you guys all registered through Eventbrite, so I'll make sure to send you guys the slides and everything, and you can email me if you have any questions. I also want to talk a little bit about Amazon ads, because this is also very interesting. So if you look at the screenshots here, you can kind of just see how I did a little bit of targeting for my book to advertise on Amazon advertising. So if you go and you just like type in some keywords that are related to your book on Amazon Kindle, you'll see a whole bunch of suggestions here for things. So in this screenshot, you can see I typed in personal tea, and then you can see like a list of keywords. And so what I try to do is I try to find a lot of these long tail keyword phrases. And then when I publish my book, I'll also go to specific categories. So for example, if I go to my book on Amazon, go back to this, you can see that there's a lot of books that are like hot new releases. So what I will do is I'll just copy everything from my categories like entrepreneurship management, the bestsellers, and then I'll make sure that my book is advertising on all of these other books. So basically just copy everything from that page and then put it in ChatGPT and say, give me a list of all of these other titles, and then I'll put all those other titles into Amazon ads. So if I go to my book page, for example, right here, I can see, where's the categories? Down here, you can see the categories that it's in. So I'll go to like entrepreneurship management. And then you can see like the top books. So basically what I'll do is I'll just kind of go and make a list of all of these. And then somewhere down here, there will also be a list of new releases. So I'll take all of the new releases and then make sure that my book is showing up as a paid ad on all of these other books. So that way you can get more traffic to your book. I'd love to kind of talk more about Amazon ads. Is it interesting for you guys? Okay. So let me see if I can just give you a very brief preview of the campaign manager and how that looks like. Once you log into Amazon advertising, you can create your campaign, and then you'll basically have some different options. Okay, I'm probably not logged into the right campaign, but basically the way it works is you'll have different options to basically target keywords or to target these actual ASINs. So if you go to here, you can actually see there's like right here, it has an ASIN. So the ASIN is basically the URL of the book, and if you use AI, it can help you to find all these other ASINs for all these other books. And so basically what that does is that you'll start getting ads on all of these other books. And then the way it works is that you only pay if somebody clicks your ad. So you can just run as many ads as you want. You can set whatever price you want. You know, if you can bid like 40 cents per click, and if you're selling your book for $4.99, then you just have to convert about 10% of those clicks. I'll send you guys more information after this about all that stuff. So another thing that you can do, especially if you're using running a publishizer campaign, is you can sell the foreign rights to your book. So I'm currently in talks with an agent about translating my book into some other languages. I know one guy that actually translated his book into Korean and just collected a check for $9,000. So you can go on like LinkedIn, and if you don't do a publishizer campaign and you don't have connections to agents, you can find like literary agents who specialize in foreign rights. Just doing some searches, you can start adding people, start connecting with them if you have a book that has a lot of appeal. But again, they want to see that you are selling your book successfully. If you show them like some of your statistics, #1 bestseller, or that you did a successful pre-launch campaign, it's going to increase your chances to sell the foreign rights to your books and get an agent interested. So that's it for the slides. Thank you guys for being generous with your time. And like I said earlier, you know, if you want to be successful, you kind of treat publishing like a business. And you know, there's always going to be different setbacks. There's going to be different things that are going to challenge you, like formatting for the book and so forth. You know, like trying to convert your book from a Google document into a Kindle. For that, I use a tool called Calibre. So I guess I can just show you guys that really quickly. Calibre is basically a free software, and you can upload any format into Calibre, and then it can convert it into like a Mobi or EPUB that you can upload directly to Amazon. So you can see here, I can just add my book here, and it'll show me the format that it's in. It'll be like a PDF or something, or a document, and then I can convert it to other formats where it says convert books. So you know, you might want to just watch a YouTube video or something about that, but it's a very easy way to convert your books. If you have any issues, you run into errors when you try to upload, just find a professional. Maybe you can find somebody on Fiverr or Upwork or something. It probably wouldn't be too expensive, but you save a lot of time. All right, any other questions before I continue? I mean, we're pretty much at the end of the slides.
Yeah, I got a question.
Okay.
Have you done any like audio for your books at all? Like any kind of journey that you've had there to like, because I know a lot of people listen to audiobooks. I'm just curious to know if there's anything that you can talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually in the process of uploading the audiobook for my book right now on Audible. And I basically, you know, don't hate me for this, but I basically use AI to narrate all of it. Yeah.
So it's not your voice, it's just a voice.
I think I did narrate my first book originally, but I think it would take way too long to do it yourself. So I'm using Audacity to prepare the files, and I use this tool called Listener to create the AI voiceover. So I don't think that's the right one. It's listener.ai. So the way that I created my audiobook is I just upload all the content into here, and then you can choose different AI voices to narrate it. I think there's something going on where I'm not able to log into these websites while I'm screen sharing, so I'm sorry about that, guys. But basically, the way Listener works, it's kind of like 11 Labs. You just go here where it says new voiceover, and then you can upload a PDF, or you can use the editor. And basically, you can go chapter by chapter and like upload your text in here, and then you can choose different voices here. So I found like a nice, you know, British male voice to narrate my book. And then you go file by file that way and upload them.
Okay, cool.
And that's
is there any other way, like in terms of like you're talking about like marketing, promoting all these things, like is it kind of more or less the same thing with an audiobook version, or like
so you're asking like with the
different?
launch and so forth, right?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like, is there anything else? Like, is there another way to like promote an audiobook versus a regular book that maybe like, because I know like Spotify holds those types of things, and there's different platforms that are like audio specific. Just curious if you do, because like I am thinking about releasing it in various ways, and like I know that audiobooks is something a lot of people listen to. Like there's Audible, there's Spotify, and there's other platforms, but just curious if there's like another level of strategy that might be specific to that.
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, let me think on that a little bit, and I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, please.
I will say that about 30 to 40% of your sales can come through audiobooks, so it's definitely great to have that as well. There are other platforms as well, which I haven't mentioned on this this webinar, like Draft to Digital. So Draft to Digital is another platform where you can upload like an ebook, for example, and it will publish on like 40 50 different platforms, I think. So it'll automatically publish your book to like other channels where you can get sales, like Barnes and Noble, Kobo, some other platforms like this. So that's another way to kind of get more sales from your book. And sorry guys, I guess I'm not logged in anything. I guess for some reason I can't share while I'm on the screen. But yeah, so that's another thing that you can do. And also, if you go and you look at some of my books, like my book by, I think, Dr. Growth, after the title page, I'll also put like some offers in the book itself. So you can put like upsells and things, or you can, say, go download the audiobook for free, or, go download this, on Gumroad, for example. So I'll do a lot of like cross sells and upsells that way. Like I have my book, Hack Upwork on Amazon. So, yeah, so this was a book I published about 10 years ago, a long time ago, about freelancing on Upwork. And if you just like open up the book, sorry, that's not for me. There is a way to kind of do a preview. I don't know what, it's not working right now, but after the title page of the book, I'll say, go download this Freelancer's Business in the Box. And then it has a link to, with like a code, it has a link to Gumroad. And then I get a lot of sales from Gumroad, just like, upselling something that helps the freelancers there. So yeah, those are just some ways that you can kind of make more money from your books. I've gone and traveled a lot, doing like public speaking at co-working spaces, teaching workshops. I have a lot of other presentations like this one. So when I published my book, Dr. Growth, I would travel to a lot of different co-working spaces and do workshops on like growth hacking, for example. So this is my growth hacking presentation. And basically using the book as kind of a foot in the door strategy to go on podcasts and do public speaking and so forth and so on like that. Did you guys have any questions or anything I could help? Anything else? We still have a little bit of time.
Hey, you just mentioned going on to podcasts, because obviously that would be a very effective marketing. Any suggestions about how to approach podcasts?
Well, first of all, I would say think of an author, in your category that you admire who's really successful, right? So you mentioned that you're writing children's books. Is that correct? I mean, so I don't know a lot of children's books authors. I know like Dr. Seuss. I think he's not alive today. But if I were to go, I might type in like Mel Robbins, for example, right? She's really successful. She's in the nonfiction niche as well. And what I try to do usually is I'll go and I'll look at like where else she's been featured. So I'll try to remove a lot of these websites like Facebook and Mel Robbins, but I'll study like what's their public relations strategy, right? So let me remove her website. I'll remove Facebook.com. Let's remove Instagram.com, YouTube.com. And then I can see like, okay, who are all the people that are featuring Mel Robbins here? And I'm basically just looking in the images. So, okay, John O'Leary, Speaker Spotlight, News 24, Eating Well. So this is just an example of like a nonfiction author that's kind of in the same category as me, that's done really well with public relations. And basically, I just want to go and just kind of look at all the places that they've been featured. So you could do that with like, if you browse the children's books category, you find a really successful author, you can kind of just go and see where they're being featured, and then you can try and go and get the same place, get featured on the same places. Another example is in my niche is like Ken Honda, for example. He's sold like 10 million books. So I'll just kind of spy on some of the other authors and see what's working for them, how they grew to be so big. And then you'll see a lot of like podcasts and other things that you could, like this one, Talking Billions, for example. I could connect with this guy and then get on his podcast. Anyone else? Too much silence can be deafening.
Yeah, no, another question actually. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Let's go first. Yeah,
Cool,
you go first.
thanks. In terms of like grabbing the attention of some of these kind of like larger platforms for PR, like it must be difficult to get their attention though, like to get onto, I can't remember, like CNN or something like that, like how do you pull off something like that without a really good PR agent?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's different ways to go about it. I guess you have to also think about, quantity versus quality. It's very easy to find a lot of podcasts where you could just go and, you can search iTunes for podcasts and just start, contacting people that way. You could go to, type itunes.com, type in like self-improvement or something, and you'd get a lot. Okay, not images. Let's see. Well, there's ways to just like, to do searches and just kind of find these like channels, for example, like YouTube, right? So these are just like a lot of like self-improvement YouTube channels. And if I wanted to find like the email addresses, I could also type in gmail.com. And then, these people put their email addresses on their profiles. So it's really easy to kind of search around and find these people. If you do like, if you use X, you can also use this hashtag. It's called journal request. And you'll see a lot of like stories that journalists are working on. And you can just go and reply to a lot of those stories on here. So that's another way to go about it. There's also a website. You can also hire people to help you too. So if you go to Fiverr.com, you can get people who can pitch you on podcasts. There's also a service called PR Pitches. There's also Help a Reporter. So if you type in Help a Reporter, you basically get a newsletter, and you'll see like stories on certain topics. So you can tell it what kind of topics that you want to write about, and it'll basically send you a newsletter, and then you can directly reply to the queries from journalists. So there's different ways to go about it.
Amazing. You're like a fountain of like useful resources. It must have taken you ages to find all this stuff out.
Oh, my pleasure. I've been doing this a while. Yeah, so I wanted to show you this. This is the hashtag journal request. So, looking to speak to British tourists for the Daily Mail who are stuck in the Middle East. Restaurant tipping. So basically, you can monitor like the hashtags. You can monitor like the newsletter. When I can search Help a Reporter for specific topics, and then contribute to publications that way. That's another way to go about it. This is an example of like a done for you service, where you just pay a fee and they will get you on like podcasts and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Yossi, sorry, I think you had a question as well. Thank you for being patient.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, all questions are valid, and they're all very insightful because they provide so much, you know what I mean? They pull so much out of you, and so I'm sure we all really appreciate really how much knowledge you're offering today. I was kind of curious to know about you mentioned, kind of touched on public speaking and how like your books have opened up that part of your career as well. And I was wondering, first and foremost, if you're going to be doing another workshop, but on public speaking, because it sounds like you have a lot of experience in like getting, on those stages and speaking. I was curious to know also, like, for that and based like through your book and stuff, have you found that the public speaking that you get is more just for PR and promotion? Do you find that like you do get people who are like paying you to be on those stages? Like, I know it's a little bit, I mean, it's still kind of connected to the book thing, but I don't want to get too off course. But I was curious because it sounds like it's part of your book journey, which I would imagine all of us are going to want to like try to see what we can get from, the things that we're writing.
Yeah, well, it's funny that you brought it up because I'm actually interviewing a lady who specializes in public speaking in a couple of weeks. So we'll have a follow-up skill sharing session on April 2nd. So
Really?
that's, yeah, Jody Donche. She's actually a public speaking coach. You can search, she's on Instagram, Jody Donche Coaching, I think, and jodydonche.com. So I'm actually going to be hosting a live session with her about public speaking, and I'd love to invite all of you back if it's something that you're interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you guys all sign up through Eventbrite, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I can send an email out with details about that.
Yeah,
Wonderful,
definitely
man.
interested in that.
Yeah, so she's done like TEDx talks. She's been paid to speak all over the world. For me personally, I typically just like Google co-working spaces in cities that I plan to travel. So if I'm going to Rome, I'll just like, look up co-working spaces in Rome, and then I'll reach out to people and then, give them an idea what kind of workshop I want to host, because For me, when I was doing growth hacking agency, like, they would bring like 50 or 60 people into the workshop, and these were all like prime prospects for the kind of consulting and services that I'd offer, and had problems like growing their companies that I could help them with. So over time, I just go and I'll just, like, if I'm going to Istanbul, for example, I'll just look up co-working spaces in Istanbul, and then I can contact a lot of places just from here. And basically, I put together a huge list of co-working spaces and places that I've spoken at. So if anyone's interested in that, I can share that with them. I have like more than 150 co-working spaces around the world that I've collected information on for public speaking purposes. So. So did you guys have any other questions? Anything else that I can help with? I think I mentioned this, but sorry, I'm a little tired today. I mentioned this marketplace, Fiverr.com. So if you need any like freelancers to help you with specific things like Kickstarter marketing, for example, you can find like all kinds of services on here, or helping you prepare audiobook or cover, whatever it happens to be.
Just a couple of things. I thought through Reddit, we were approached by the BBC. We were featured on them. Again, that came through Reddit because they saw us being active there. So that's worth doing. And the other thing was, somebody was asking about recording your voice. Well, the good thing with 11 Labs, okay, if you record, you have to record an hour's worth of your voice, and then it will read everything in your voice. You can put any text in there and it will read it as you then from there on.
Yeah, 11 Labs is really powerful, especially for audiobooks.
Genius.
Yeah.
I think 11 Labs, I use it every day. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that are creating basically like AI twins now to create all the video content for them. We did have a couple more questions I see over here in the chat here. How do you market and sell your books consistently and successfully? Well, pretty much with a lot of the things I just shared, now. Yeah, I mean, in terms of, marketing over time, I think, Amazon ads are great. You can decide how much you want to bid, and you only pay if people click. And the data that you get is really great because you can see, am I making money? Am I losing money? Am I breaking even? And over time, you just basically use the data to improve your marketing process. So that's one reason why I love Kickstarter, is because I get so much data about like what actually works when it comes to marketing. So I'll create unique links for every kind of marketing that I do. If I, post blog posts, or if I post to X, I'll have a unique link for that. And then it basically shows me where all my orders are coming from. And then I know which marketing is actually working. Armand is asking, what are the big main websites for publishing? Well, pretty much all the platforms we talked about. So Amazon is the biggest one. Draft to Digital is another one, so that you can get wide reach for your book. You just upload information about your book, and then it'll publish it on multiple platforms for you, so you get more sales. Gumroad is another great one. It's very easy to use, and you can do promotion codes, things like this. So if I have just some digital product that I just want to sell, I often use Gumroad as well. All right, guys. Anything else? So as I mentioned, we'll have another workshop in a couple of weeks about public speaking. So you're all welcome to join that. Is it hard to be a full-time author and be successful when starting out? Yes, it's hard, but you gotta choose what hard you can accept, I suppose. Some people it's hard showing up, going to a job at Jack in the Box or McDonald's or whatever. And I think that if you write a book, it's one of the ways to take the first step to controlling your own destiny. And like I said, when it came to a lot of my initial books that I published, it wasn't just about making money on Amazon, but also using my book to get other opportunities, to get clients, to get on podcasts, to go do speaking and so forth. So when you publish a book, it has a range of other benefits that are provided to you as the author as well. My pleasure, Jackie. And thank you all for joining. Feel free to keep in touch, and I'll let you guys know about the next skill sharing session. It'll be April 2nd. And appreciate you guys for joining.
Thanks so much,
Thanks so much for your
Danny.
time.
Chat
Amazing.
soon.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.